know what it is. Black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
You know who it is. Black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
Odie, Maurice, Odie, Maurice.
Maurice, Odie, Maurice, Odie.
Black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
Black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
Hey, oh.
Yes, Mo?
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy. It's the Black and Snurdy podcast with Odie and Maurice.
Welcome to Black and Snurdy Podcast, where snurds of a feather flock together. I'm your host, Odie.
And I'm the other host, Maurice.
And we're here with another week of pop culture shenanigans and the news you can use.
Nice. Is that where we're going with shenanigans?
I mean, there's lots of shenanigans constantly happening.
There are constant shenanigans happening. So why don't you hit us with that sweet, sultry, delicious news?
Thank you. Well, some good news this week is the COVID relief bill was passed. And I mean, it's a really big bill. And if you've never taken a law class or just don't want to have to spend literal hours combing through it has to be more than 100 pages of the document. Rep AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she gave a good breakdown on her Instagram. So I'm just going to give some of the points that she made. So this is what's going to be in there. The $1,400 stimulus checks, which may I add is not the $2,000 we were supposed to be promised.
Well, we got the $600 previously.
But this is the thing. They said $2,000. They didn't say, I'm going to give you $600 this time and the rest later. They said $2,000.
What if they're doing like that Pavlovian dog test?
Well, I'm not a dog and I don't like that.
Fair enough.
That test, first of all, when you actually look at the whole test, was not even like what that whole Pavlovian dog analogy is more. The test was more than that. But anyway, I'm just whatever. The money's coming. So if you haven't gotten your stimmy by now, it should be there this week.
I've been checking my account feverishly. Is that even a word that I should be using? But I have been very adamant.
It's apropos for what's happening. All right, so then dependents now get checks. So that means students, and if you have disabled people in your family or you're disabled, you should get checks, which is great. There was a lot of people on Twitter that I was seeing that were like, ha, you childless people, you bet you are sad now you didn't have any kids. But $1,400 for kids is really not, that's nothing. $1,400 is barely daycare, it's barely diapers, it's barely food, because kids eat a lot. So
yeah, that's crazy. It was crazy. And obviously I'm about to say this thing, which sounds very much on the nose. Kids eat a lot. Kids need a lot of in their systems in order to
constantly
survive. That's insane.
Constantly.
I ate one thing today.
You can't eat one thing as a child and not have someone call CPS.
Jeez.
Okay, so here's some more things. $300 weekly unemployment, $3,000 to $3,600 extra cash per child per year, which still honestly is really not that much for kids, but whatever. FEMA will pay you back up to $7,000 for COVID funeral reimbursements. The first $10,200 in 22 unemployment income will not be taxed federally. Cheaper ACA healthcare exchange premiums, free for some people, free COBRA premiums through September, assistance for independent restaurants and bars, housing assistance, rent and mortgage, which I definitely need to look into because a bitch needs some money for the rent.
Once again, we are recording this during Lent and I cannot curse. So, and even if I did, I wouldn't second you. Yeah. B-words need rent.
A Easter egg, she called it, on student loans. I have to think, maybe that just means that we're not paying. I have to look more into that, but that's what she called it.
An Easter egg for student loans.
Yeah. So who knows? And then this was not in the bill or in the package, but all adults will be eligible for vaccines starting May 1st. I'm not rushing to take a vaccine, but at least I know that they'll be eligible.
Yeah.
And so moving on from that, there's some things that have happened around the George Floyd not George Floyd, the trial of George Floyd's murder.
Yes.
Derek Chauvin, the killer cop. Well, this Minnesota judge, Peter Cahill, he approved the prosecution's request to reinstate a third-degree murder charge against him. He also, the former police officer also has a second-degree murder and a manslaughter charge for killing him, which, you know, had caused so many protests throughout this last year, throughout the summer. I think that Minneapolis, they're still having many protests, and they're trying to defund the police, which initially that kind of was happening, but I think efforts have kind of stalled as of right now.
Things have really gotten mad quiet, and let me just be the first person to say this, because like, hey everybody, first and foremost, let me just make yes, keeping a very close eye on the developments for this case. I don't respect him, Derek, Chevy, whatever his name is, or anything. I'm referred to him as Chevy. All right, so like F him. But like, I'm paying very close attention because I just get this eerie sense that like everybody's sliding back to status quo, same old as it always was.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that kind of makes me a little bit worried is that George Floyd's family received the city of Minneapolis has agreed to pay the family a $27 million settlement for the civil lawsuit that his family had against them. And now that's great. They're also including a $500,000 donation to the community around the intersection of 38th and Chicago Avenue, which is now George Floyd Square, because that's where he was murdered. But I'm hoping that it's not just this $27 million payout to the family, but that it's also with a conviction, because at the end of the day, like $27 million, no one's going to be like, oh, I don't want $27 million. However, you know, that doesn't bring him back. His daughter doesn't have her father anymore. Yeah. Like his family doesn't have him. So, I mean, at the very least, his daughter and his family will be taken care of. And hopefully, you know, for generations to come, they'll be able to like eat off this. But we still need more. No, for sure. Like that's why I'm saying I'm paying close attention to this. I think I messaged you about this like earlier in the week when this happened. I don't want, you're the optimistic one, like of the two of us, where you're like, hey, like at least the daughter is like gonna have money and the family can use that money to like help better and everything like that. Me, I always I hate to be pessimistic. I see it as go away money. That's all taxpayer go away money. I mean, but the thing is, I on one hand, I'm like, maybe us having to not us, the police departments and the cities having to pay out people will cause the police to have to be reformed or defunded in some way, just because of the fact it's like we're paying all this money, even if it's not the police departments who are like, oh, we have to stop this because we're paying out so much. But like taxpayers should really be pissed off that like we're the ones who are paying for this. It's not it's not like the police, it's coming from the police pensions. No, it's not. It's coming from the taxpayers. So if you don't want to have to pay for everybody to have health care and to everyone to get like a basic living wage, but you're totally okay with paying for the fact that a cop murders someone and now the city has to pay them out. Like that should enrage you, even if you don't care about Black lives and you don't care about this man being murdered and taken away from his family and it being recorded. The fact that you would have to put your taxes that are supposed to go to roads and schools and all that to this kind of injustice, it's just like that should enrage you enough to say we need to do something different. So that's what I'm hopeful for. Because at the end of the day, at the very least, I mean, the best part of it is that the family gets to be taken care of, even though their family, their person in their family was taken away. Yeah. So shout out to everybody who's continuing to do the work, and who haven't just sort of forgotten and just sort of rolled back into the old days. And here's an interesting idea: why don't we just take the police budget, make that the legal fees for any time they murder us, just instead of the taxpayer money, just go straight from their billion-dollar budgets, and then guess how often they'll be killing people.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
They are already. I saw earlier in the summer they were like testing out these robot dogs, and it's like you have money for robot dogs, but not training so that you don't kill people. I feel like where are the priorities?
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah,
but
everybody wants to make it Black Mirror. And I hope that one episode with the robot dogs happens.
Gosh, that was
for them.
Terrible.
Anyhow, continue.
But in more news of, Black people getting paid things that they are owed from cities.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, I'm reading on Because of Them We Can that a beach in LA County worth up to $72 million may go back to descendants of the first Black owners.
Ooh.
Because in 1912, Willa Bruce and her husband, Charles Bruce, bought 2 lots of land from a white developer, George H. Peck, in Southern California for a little over $1,200. However, in 1924, the government stepped in and took the land away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And this was within that about 12-year period. Mm-hmm. The beach that they purchased was known as Bruce's Beach. Mm-hmm. And it was a segregated area, but it brought in a lot of Black people because the Bruces had, restaurant, they had place for the people to sleep. Right. So it was bringing in a lot of Black people around California from out of town. Were coming in and having a resort of sorts. Right. And the white people in the area didn't like it. The KKK was coming in and trying to burn the place down constantly. And when that didn't deter them, because they were just like, whatever, fuck you. We've purchased this land. We're going to use it. In 1924, the city condemned the neighborhood and and they seized more than 24 properties using eminent domain. Now, if you don't know what eminent domain is, it's basically the government is allowed to take private property for public use, but only it's supposed to be you take it for public use and you give fair compensation for it. So at the time, the Bruces requested $120,000 in compensation. However, they only received $14,500, and that was after years and years of litigation. And now the land's worth up to $72 million. So their family has been talking about this literally since they were kicked off the land. And not only were they kicked out of the land, but other people in the area were able to purchase more land, and just buy houses in other areas. But the city basically blackballed them, so they were not able to reopen anywhere in that area. And they ended up going from owning their own business to setting themselves up for generational wealth to ended up being chefs for the local people in the area. So it's their whole family has basically lost out on land, on money that they could have had, because imagine having a seaside housing location in California, and now that land's worth so much. But that's
how I'm annoyed with my family. They used to live in Brooklyn, and then they got their house in St. Albans, Queens. So shout out to them. But also, if you would have just hung in there through the crack epidemic and I would have been able to crash over there on Linden Boulevard. That would have been so great. But instead, now it's a train to a bus to a rickshaw to go out and see you guys. That's why honestly, even if it wasn't a pandemic, I look, man, I only just started using Lyft, and you're only $15 away. Okay.
Honestly, no, my family, we had 2 brownstones actually on Herkimer by the A train, but my grandparents, they moved out to Long Island in 55, just because things were getting worse in Brooklyn. But I'm just I could only imagine if I still had that house in Brooklyn, I would be living on Easy Street. Yeah. But at the very least, they sold it. This land was literally taken from them.
Yeah.
And the LA County Supervisor, Janice Hahn, she said she's looking into fixing what was, she's fixing this wrong that was done to them. So, she said she's considering giving the property back to the Bruce family, or they're thinking of whether it's can they give them, like having them lease out the property to them or something. But I hope that they get it back. I want them to get it back. I want them to get the money back. I want them to lease it, to get money for their generations, because I think that area is only like 1% Black.
Right.
You know, and even the Black people now who are still living in the area are still getting, you know, chastised and having these racial situations happening.
Right.
So, you know,
yeah.
we'll see.
I mean, honestly, fingers crossed. I like hearing stories about this. I don't often get a chance to hear them. So if you could just like send me a link to this article, and then of course we can include it. Because like I like hearing stuff like this of just like finally like making right what has been wrong for so long. Do you know who wrote this article?
It is on Because of Them We Can. It just says staff. So
interesting.
One of the staff writers.
Okay, cool. Well, you know what? I wanted to give credit to whoever wrote this because it's the type of story that I would like to hear more of. But hey, but no, it's okay. Look, we don't know
the article. Okay, I wrote it. Selfish. It's a self plug, but it was good news that we could use. So I used it. Okay.
Fantastic. Hey, and now you know. So, moving on from news and skip hopping into some of the more pop culture-y seemings. Hit me with that sweet pop culture right in the face.
Is everything sweet?
Yeah.
We're getting diabetes with all this sweetness.
Oh my goodness. If I told you about all the sweetness that I ended up seeing tonight, I would lose my foot. But that's neither here nor there. And if you know, you know. And if y'all are listening, knock it off. So
all right. Well, there have been, and now when I told you the pop culture shenanigans at the top of the show, I want to let you know that there have been shenanigans. So basically, this one thing that I thought was really interesting, and I'm going to really try hard to get the audio in. Kirk Franklin and his 33-year-old son got into some sort of disagreement, and basically Kirk Franklin was telling him he was about to stomp on him because he was not having it.
You were so happy. You were so happy to say that.
I was.
Queued up in the chamber.
And now Kirk Franklin has allegedly responded. He looks very like pastorally and just grieved in this video. I'm going to try to put the audio in so everyone could hear. But it was interesting to me. Like, I don't have any particular thoughts either way. Like, not in the sense of I can't say who was right or wrong in this situation, because just because Kirk Franklin, you know, great singer, pastor, man of God, and all this stuff, that doesn't mean that he may not be emotionally manipulative or abusive or whatever. So, but on the flip side, his son could have called him, because the clip is like 40 seconds of him cursing him out. We don't know what he said before. He said he's not going to release the what happened. So he could have called his father and been like, "Fuck you, man. You trifling asshole. I hate you." And then his father's like, "Excuse me, what's with the disrespect?" And then blah, 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 blah. So it's interesting. But he did say he was going to stomp him. And he would break his neck if he did. But you know when your parents are angry and they're like, you're being disrespectful.
Yes, when your parents are angry and they're Grammy Award nominated like church like people.
Listen.
But what that belt say?
People spare the rod and spoil the child. But actually, that Bible reference is actually misquoted often. It doesn't mean what people think it means about beating your children. It says
spare the rod.
Spare the rod and spoil the child.
Use that rod so often because that kid, like, you should be nice to that kid.
Well, you know, I want to know I want to know what's happened with this, but also I just feel like I hate when parents and children fight, because it's just like, we only have two parents, and I know everyone's parents are not always the best at being parents, and I'd like to give people that grace, but we don't know what happens. We don't know what's happening in their home. allegedly they've been estranged. She's not talking to him for these years. Anything could have been going on. It could be his fault. It could be his father's fault. We don't know what it is. But all I know is I hope that they can just bring it together and love each other, because at the end of the day, that's his father. That's his son. And I just wish him the best.
And you know what? I was about to sit here and say that, like, maybe he should just go to his son and just, like, say, hey, I am here, but I can't reference that song anymore because of one dude on that song who ruined it for everybody. Anyhow, yeah, he's on there. Yep.
Oh, I can't. Wait, I don't know what song that is. I think I know what the song is.
Yeah, you know, the one that's like, I am here. You don't have to worry. I can see your tears. I'll be there in a hurry when you call.
Oh, he's on that song?
Yes, he is.
Damn, I love that song.
Bono is on that song, but also
Damn.
Nasty Man is also on that song. Yeah.
God, I hate him.
Yeah.
All right.
Dang.
Now in other news, now the reason why I picked this song is the song. The reason I picked this story, which is related to songs, is
oh yeah. Let's see how you segue into this. Let's see this transition.
Los Angeles Times, they had a headline of, we asked the Grammys why Beyonce is not performing. And so I'm like, well, what did she say? Now, they did not say why.
Specify.
They didn't say why she didn't. They just said that, you know, she wasn't going to be able to. They said that they absolutely wish she was on stage. However, now this is what I thought was interesting. One of the producers, and I can't find, I'm not going to go back and find his name. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put the link in the show notes.
Sure.
Now, one of the producers who's in charge of the Academy's presentation or whatever, he said, you know what the deal, you know, that's the deal when you take over the show. Oh, wait, let me make sure I'm reading this right thing.
Yes. Take your time. Do not
take
rush.
My time. Yeah, right, because we don't have a time limit or anything.
No, of course not. We don't have a time limit, and also, you chose these stories.
He said he spent his first 3 months after he was appointed meeting with artists and label executives to hear like what they thought about the Grammys. And he said one unnamed performer he hoped to book this year turned him down. And he said because she was like, I got snubbed 3 years ago and I'm still annoyed about it. I told her, right, but you know that's got nothing to do with me. She said, I don't know. It sort of is, isn't it? Now, they didn't say it was Beyonce.
But if we go through the timeline, when was Lemonade?
They didn't say it was Beyonce.
But 3 years ago, when was Lemonade? Was Lemonade 3 years ago?
I feel like it was 3 years ago because it wasn't Beyonce. Like, that wasn't self-titled.
Yeah, Lemonade didn't... I think Lemonade... It was either nominated and lost out to Taylor Swift nonsense, or it wasn't nominated at all.
One of them lost to Bono. Not Bono.
Coldplay?
No. What's the guy... Oh man, he's a musician. He plays all the different.
Oh, the shape of I'm in love with the shape of you.
No, not
red
him.
Hair?
I don't remember his name. But
okay,
it's definitely not Bono.
Boy, oh boy, one of us is a journalist.
I'm not a music journalist.
Okay, just saying.
So
who, what, when, where, why? Why don't you have any of these answers?
That's not my beat. Okay.
I don't ever want to hear you say that.
So anyway,
you flat butt.
That was what's happening there. Now it didn't say it was Beyonce, but I do feel like it probably was.
It was probably
because she's like you nominate me and I I do really well. I bring people to your show, come perform, and what happens? Nothing.
It's insane to me. There was a during the Grammy So White, Emmy So White, like there was a running list of like all of the black artists who have not won any Grammys. Like I think Snoop Dogg, Busta Rhymes, like even like the music like at TLC, I don't think has a Grammy.
No, they've gotten Grammys because remember that the Grammys was when they were telling people how broke they were.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. 3LW. I don't know. Like.
Oh my God, please. We don't need their promises.
Ooh,
all right.
But what about the dollars and dollars?
But yeah, that was interesting to me. And also Beyonce, she doesn't need to take her time out of enjoying her bees and her children to do anybody's show. Now, this is a little bit more solemn, but it's still related to the entertainment industry and music.
Great. I'm glad this is what we're leaving.
It's more so disappointing than it is solemn.
Gotcha.
But this is from NBC News. a dozen women have come forward to accuse rapper T.I. and his wife of sexual assault and misconduct, with some allegations stretching back more than a decade. New York lawyer Tyrone A. Blackburn, yes, that is his name.
Shout out to Blackburn.
Blackburn Hall, H.U. you know.
H.U. you know.
Said he represents a man and 10 women who have all been victims of the artist, born Clifford Harris, and his wife, the singer Tamika Tiny Harris. So 2 women with misconduct claims against T.I. or Tiny or both. So it's very interesting. This has been going on for the last 2 months or so. And I just, at the end of the day, after you have like one person saying something, it's like, oh, okay. 2 people, it's like, Now, once you've gotten to, now this is a dozen, like that's a lot of people. And when I was reading some of these stories on, I forgot her name. She had an Instagram where she was literally posting the different women who were contacting her.
Yeah.
And so all the stories were like very similar.
Right.
The stories did not seem fabricated. A lot of these women didn't know each other. And also, like, why would they randomly come out like with this now? Because like people always want to be like, oh, why are they deciding to come out 20 years later? One, it's a trauma, and you never know when someone's going to decide to say, you know what, this trauma has been here long enough, I'm going to say something. Right.
How many times okay, so this is my specific take on this, and I remember this specifically because it's exactly how I felt when I was arguing with an auntie who this was when like Bill Cosby allegations were coming out, and at that point it was like a football field's worth of like allegations.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, you know, there's people money and everything like that. You can't believe it. Like, cause some of them, he's trying to buy NBC. And I was, and this is what I said. Look, first and foremost, I'm siding with victims. Like, I'm not about to sit here and do mental gymnastics to try to like, you know, get this sweater loving dude like in my heart because he's the father for 3 generations. Look, what I say is this. Even if it's one person who is absolutely telling the truth, let's say that only one person is telling the truth, that's still 5 more people like that, as in like that's 5 more than should be ever having to deal with any sort of sexual abuse or misconduct or anything like that. So sorry, T.I. Money, rolls, cars, and clothes. I never want that in my Spotify anymore. So go and you live your life and maybe hopefully go to jail and some tiny reference.
But the thing about it is, I remember when T.I. was coming out talking about his daughter's hymen and how he's forcing her to go to the gynecologist. And not even the fact that you're doing this, but you're talking about it on the radio, like your daughter's not going to hear it and everyone's not going to hear it. That to me was like, that's very weird. Why are you so obsessed with your daughter having sex? And not even that you're obsessed with your daughter having sex. On his TV show and in different radio interviews, he's discussed how, his daughter could be a virgin, has to be a virgin, but his sons, the things he's been telling them about women never made me think, this man's standing up for women's rights. He's a feminist or a womanist. Like, I want him around me, like, when I'm drunk. Like, everything that he has displayed, both in his relationship with his wife, who recently in an interview, before this all came out, he was talking about, oh, you know, it's boring. It's boring being with my wife, which is like, well, is this the way you get it spiced up, by drugging these women and bringing them along? And not saying that Tiny does not have some fault to play in this, but I can imagine, like, it's like she's not having Stockholm syndrome, but I think there are women who just, like these pick-me's, who just go with whatever their partner is doing because they just want to be in that relationship so much that, and not to say that she may not be emotionally abused in some way, that she just is like, let me go along with it. But either way, it's just terrible all around. And I hope that the victims, they all get justice and restitution in whatever way possible. Same here.
I'm definitely all about justice for those who are victims. And just peace of mind, you know? Everybody on the internet, be mindful and don't be monsters, okay?
I'm not going to call them victims anymore. I'm going to call them survivors, because I think that, you know, at this point, whether it happened to you a year, 30 years, however long ago, if you can stand up and be like, this happened to me, then you are a survivor. You've made it, and that's something to be proud of, regardless of what happened and how it happened, what the circumstances were. That it's like you deserve that, badge of honor of bravery.
Absolutely, amen, and I second that.
But I'm a little thirsty.
Yep.
I would like to get some water.
First and foremost,
parched.
yes, you are, and second of all, no, both thirsty and parched. So how about we just go on break and then we'll be back?
Sure.
You're listening to the Black and Snurdy Podcast.
We now return to the Black and Snurdy Podcast.
I go crazy.
I go insane. Would you ever date anybody? Time out, real quick. Would you ever date anybody who like had this kind of energy for you? Because this is like a really desperate song. If you just break the words down by themselves,
it would definitely depend, because if it's weird.
Which verse do you think is like okay? All right, how about this? Imagine, okay, we're gonna do a role play. Obviously, we're friends. So let's say that like I'm dating you, right? And one day I just come over to your house, right? And I'm just like, hey, forget my pride, girl. I'm begging you. You're my heart. You're my soul. You have so much control.
I think that part, it would be like, oh, okay, that's a little bit sweet. That part right there is not like scary.
Odie, you've got your problems, baby. I've got mine. Let's just spend it all by putting them together, right? When you say you love me, it don't mean a thing. If you cared, you'd be there like you used to be. That's insane.
I think that part is where it gets a bit problematic, because we don't need to be mingling our problems together. It should be like, you got problems, I got problems. Let's both go to therapy, work it out.
Yes.
Work through it.
Yeah.
And then we can come back together healed.
Mm-hmm.
And and love on each other in a healed way versus just trauma bonding.
But Odie, you don't understand. My love runs deeper than the oceans and sea. So if you sail away, you'll take the centerpiece of me.
No, I don't want to be anybody's centerpiece.
Yeah, nah, because I don't ever want to be anybody. I don't even want to be anybody's side piece. Let alone a centerpiece, a rectangle.
The thing is, I don't think I would mind like someone saying like I love you so much that like you mean the world to me is a different thing than saying like you're my whole world, and if you're not here with me,
I hear the distinction. Yeah.
Like I don't know what I would do, because then it's like that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, like I can't figure out who I am without you. Like, do you know how many times like I just like fell out of a relationship and just went back into just like automatic mode of just like, well, back to me doing what I always do, because like, I don't know, that maybe that's just a whole relationship sort of thing that can be explored in later episodes. But I got a quick question for you, actually.
What is it?
Okay, so I had this conversation with my family, and I wanted to pose this to you.
Okay.
If there was one, if there was one song that if tomorrow you woke up and you never heard it ever again, like ever, like not on Spotify, they don't play it on commercials, they don't play it in DJ booths or anything like that. I don't know, wherever on the radio, wherever. Look, we're in the pajama jammy jam, so I don't know where anybody is playing loud music. But if there was a song that like you could, if you didn't hear it again, that would be okay. Like you wouldn't like lose sleep over not hearing a song again. Like what would the song be? And I have an example for you if you need it, because okay, let me explain.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a bad song. Okay. It doesn't have to be like an annoying song. Okay. It could be like a popular song. I've just heard it so often and throughout the years and so many times, I'm like, if I never heard it again, I'm not going to lose sleep. Okay,
well, tell me yours and then I'll tell you mine.
Okay, Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. Yeah. It literally is I get it. Like, first off, sexual healing is better. And second of all, it's literally like we're at the point now where I've heard it, so it's not a bad song. I love it. It's a great song. It's a really good song. Like
But let's get it home.
Yeah, I've been really trying, baby.
Baby.
That's the whole song. The song is literally, it's the smoothest way to tell somebody that, like, hey, I'm all horned up and I'm ready to bust a nut. Like, it's the smoothest. That's all that song is. Like, let's have sex.
It's like, it is let's have sex, but it's let's have sex in a sultry, smooth way.
Sexual healing is better.
Sexual healing, I think, okay, yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
Sexual healing is the better song.
And honestly, I feel like sexual healing doesn't get as much play because of Let's Get It On is the go-to Marvin Gaye sex song.
That's true.
Mind you, and the only reason why I say, like, it's, again, not a bad song. I like the song. It's a classic song. But we reached peak Let's Get It On in the fact that it's always playing for those Reese's Pieces, the chocolate Easter commercials.
They do play it on that.
When they show the chocolate Easter in the Reese's cup and they kiss, and then they do, this chocolate Easter. I'm like,
his family is really eating off of that.
They really are.
Song.
One well-made song can feed an entire generation.
I've literally been trying to spend my whole life trying to figure out how I'm supposed to make one good song.
You've been really trying, baby?
I have.
Try to make this song for so long.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, if you feel what I feel, I got a keyboard. Let's make a song. That came together so well.
It was a good job.
So how about you? I've given you enough time. I vamped.
All right, let's see. Now, this one is just off the top of my head, and I will say it has a lot of great memories.
Okay.
But also not a song that I want to hear so much. T-Pain, I'm gonna buy you a drink.
Ooh, now that is a classic from our college days, right?
No, from high school.
Oh, that was high school.
Because I remember this distinctly, the part where it's like, ooh, 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 I'm gonna buy you a drink.
Time out.
Ooh, shorty coming home with me, drinking money in the bed. Shorty, what you think like that? I'm a big kind of like, ooh, 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 ooh. Like
that was the perfect song to blend into me and the trash. Exactly. You were just doing the dance.
Always did. They always blended those two together. And now this is the thing. Great song. Yes. Great memories. Yes. But also don't need to hear it again.
That's fair. I mean, honestly, like, yeah. Cause like I get nostalgic more so but like now that I think about it, it's mostly in high school, and I wasn't really doing much in high school.
I feel like when I heard it in high school, it was mostly like I only really liked the part where I could do like
the snap,
the little snap, because I was the snap queen.
Oh
in
my
high
goodness!
School.
So now
I
need
snap queen.
Here's what I need to do. After this is over, and once we are off mic, I need to record you. Because you seem like the type who would do like the elaborate snap of just like throw up the hat, like, and just like, oh.
Funny enough, there is video of me.
Oh my God.
In a economics, we had an economics project, and we had to do this whole commercial, and that was my part. It was doing the snap. Because that was my favorite part of the song, and I made it. I had to. If I could ask my best friend if she still has this video,
please, I want this video.
I will attach it to the notes if I find it.
But sure.
It was like, so it does have a lot of good memories, but I never felt like I like loved the song. It was just like that little singular part.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. And honestly, that was man. That was such a great generation when like you can make. Like just everybody, if you could snap, you could dance, and if you could dance and snap, then all the ladies love me.
And all you had to do was just do a little boop boop boop.
Exactly.
Boop, throw it up.
It wasn't like the Harlem Shake where like I just tried to coordinate my shoulders.
I'm from New York and I still don't know how to do a Harlem Shake. It was too much. The Harlem Shake and the heel toe. I spent days in the summertime trying to figure out how to do it. I still can't. I tried to,
shout out to you, Ashley. You tried to teach me how to do the SpongeBob.
What's the SpongeBob again?
That's like where like it's a thing with your feet and like you have to do it really fast.
Was that like kind of like the jerk?
Kinda, yeah, it was kind of like that. But shout out to you. You tried to teach me, and sorry, it just didn't take. I have 2 left feet. It doesn't matter, but I knew how to do the snap. Also, shout out to you and your beautiful family, even though you cucked me in high school. So, who is next? I think that's a great segue into the mental health check-in. For those of you who are listening. Me and Odie are advocates, not experts, when it comes to mental health and mental health awareness, and we're both, therapy, various things. So tell me, as far as your week is concerned, let me check in with you. How you feeling mental health wise? What's going on with you, Odie?
I feel like this week was really good. Maybe not say really good. It was good. It was a good week.
Okay.
I had a great session with my therapist, talking about just the normal stuff, work, regular life during this panorama. And I'm trying to think of like a really good takeaway from therapy this week. I would say like the good takeaway was like just trusting myself and not allowing fear to seep in to the things that I want to change and I want to do differently.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm happy to hear that,
Thank you.
Yeah, my week, it could have been better. It wasn't like terrible. How about that? I'll say like I am at a point now where I'm good at managing my feelings, my expectations, my emotions. And when it comes to sort of outside sources that disrupt my equilibrium or just rub me the wrong way, quite frankly, look, it's easy to annoy me, quite frankly. Okay. Like, this.
Yeah.
And if you don't know this, you're not paying attention at all. But for anybody who's listening, I'm a fairly chill person. I like to laugh. I like to joke around. It is absolutely super duper easy to annoy me.
Same.
Like so much. Like,
same.
And not only am I aware that I can be an annoying person and some of my traits are annoying, but guess what? It's super easy for anyone to annoy me. Odie, you've annoyed me a bunch of times. But it rolls, you know what I mean? Like, it's just mostly like I learn to deal with things. I roll off and like, that's all it is, right? Especially when it's more so like a thing of inconvenience, right? This is going to sound horrible, and I completely understand this, right? I find that I'm a good friend. I like to help out wherever I can, right? I find that like a sort of domino effect of some other like, incidents that led to like one of my friends being in a terrible situation. Like, I'm not upset with my friend at all, and I'm not, it's not me to tell that story or anything like that, but my friend is going through a hard time and I'm not annoyed with them at all. Like, I'm there to help. I'm going to do whatever I can. The annoying part is the sort of domino effect that led them to be in the situation that they are in, because it's literally like not in their hands, but also just they were given a raw deal, and it sucks. And it's just like, boy, oh boy, it didn't have to go down that way, but it did. And here we are now. These are the pieces of the puzzle. But like, shout out to my friend. I'm going to spend time with them on Tuesday, hopefully getting back to some semblance of normalcy. Like I'm doing whatever I can. But that kind of weighed on me this past week. Yeah. But talk to my therapist about it. Apparently I'm handling it a lot better than if this was like 7 months ago or so. Even I know that if this was like maybe 3 years ago, quite frankly, like this would be all too much. It would be too intense. But I'm actually dealing with it as well as possible.
That's great.
Also, shout out to having an air fryer, because now I feel like I'm eating healthy. That doesn't seem like it's related, but it is
related, because I will say having an air fryer has definitely helped me. And I was like, some people think like, oh, it's like lazy cooking, but I know that like in my ADHD group, shout out to the unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everyone's just like, my therapist is always like, whatever makes things easy for you. And I'm just like, yes.
Yes.
And my air fryer makes things easy for me. So why would I not love it and use it as much as possible?
Now, you're the reason why I ended up getting an air fryer.
I mean, I talk about my air fryer all the time.
You really do.
Air fryer hive. Gang, gang,
Shout
gang.
out. Yo, hey, gang, 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 gang. Air fryer hive. Oh, and mine is connected to my Alexa
Now,
device.
yours is way fancier than mine. When you told me you were getting an air fryer, I was thinking like, oh, cool. But yours has like all that accoutrement.
Yeah.
And that I do not have. So, but I'm glad. That's great for you.
I can literally go on my phone right now and turn that thing on to preheat it, but I'm not I'm not at home, so why would I do that?
Please don't.
I mean, look, you don't know, man.
So
all right. But no, that has been the mental health check-in.
I like those.
Now,
I love checking in.
Now, I feel like we should, once we leave the mental health check-in portion, we should say something that's like positive affirmation, if that makes sense. Like, hey, like, I recognize you, you recognize me. We're doing the work that we need to do, and we are excelling the best that we are absolutely excelling. Not the best that we can. We're excelling.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Is this positive affirmation like for each of us individually or us together?
I would say, dealer's choice.
Okay. I'm going to say that we are our best selves.
Yes. Fantastic. And I'm going to say the thing that I just said.
Yes. You don't have to say another thing.
Exactly. So and I especially want to do that because obviously we do this mental health check-in which,
and
quite
it falls
frankly,
on the new moon, so good affirmations.
Shout out to affirmations and shout out to the new moon, but also because it transitions perfectly into I'm your pusher. Odie, I got a question for you.
Oh, what's your question?
What's going on with you? What's grinding?
You want to know what's grinding?
What's a grinding?
Grinding my gears.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I'm sticking away from specifically saying grinding the gears. I'm just saying what's grinding you.
Well, so this very interesting thing happened during a
what a very specific setup.
During a basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
This man, one of the announcers said something very interesting. He said something. He said these fucking niggers.
Ooh.
Now he's like the announcer at the game and all this stuff. And I want to just read you.
What game is this?
I don't know. Like I honestly, it was the Norman High School girls basketball game against Midwest City.
Mm-hmm.
And the announcer, Matt Rowan, said these fucking niggers. And I'm just going to read you a little tiny bit of this press release that he put out after it was, I guess people recorded him because he had his mic on. He didn't realize it was on. He had a hot mic. And he says, during the Norman High School girls basketball game against Midwest City, I made inappropriate and racist comments believing that the microphone was off. However, let me state immediately that it is no excuse such comments should have never been uttered. I am a family man. I am married, have 2 children, and at one time was a youth pastor. I continue to be a member of a Baptist church. I have not only embarrassed and disappointed myself, I have embarrassed and disappointed my family and friends. I will state that I suffer type 1 diabetes, and during the game, my sugar was spiking. While not excusing my remarks, it is not unusual while my sugar spikes that I become disoriented and often say things that are not appropriate as well as hurtful.
Can we?
No more.
No,
this is the thing that's grinding my gears.
Okay.
My best friend has diabetes, and not ever, not one single time has she ever said something disgustingly racist because her sugar was spiking. Has she been tired? Yes. Has she been jittery? Sure. But racist? No. And the thing about it is, these white people, they love to say every single thing is cancel culture. Oh, they want to cancel us. They always want to cancel blah, 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 blah. No, y'all are doing bullshit. And then you expect everybody else to be like, oh, it's okay. I'm fine with you being racist and ignorant and disgusting. It's fine. I don't care. And then you put out these stupid press releases. So as if I'm now supposed to feel sympathy for you. Do you know how many people have diabetes and how many people do not go around saying disgustingly racist things?
Odie, what you got to understand is that this is a white person apologizing to white people about racism. That's all these apologies ever are. It's white people. White people aren't apologizing for the bad thing that they did. They're apologizing to other white people because now they see that they did. Now they feel like, oh, I'm sorry, all my white friends. Now you feel uncomfortable surrounding yourselves with me, and now we have to spend 3 to 7 months sort of distancing ourselves before we could kind of like dip the toe back into our friendship. I'm sorry that I inconvenienced you by saying the N-word, but if you don't, but you had to understand there was a reason when it was diabetes. Get out of here! Like, I wish I could cuss. I'd be like, F off. Like F out of here.
Like, come on. Seriously? You're really blaming your lack of insulin in the moment? I'm just disgusted at the whole affair because I'm gonna see if I can put the audio in so you can hear what he says.
No, I don't need to hear it. I've heard the N-word from one too many white people in the world.
It's just like, y'all are really bold at this point. You don't care.
Yeah.
You don't care and you just want to do whatever.
I actually am gonna create a drop for the way that I do have with grinding. I'm gonna do one for like, I'm so appalled.
I'm so appalled. I can't take it. Okay, but now that's what's grinding my gears. White people just not really taking accountability for their bullshit. What about you?
Well, it looks like we're going to be covering the spectrum. So recently, look, I don't have the news article up, but this is more of a larger issue. Stacey Dash.
Ugh.
I don't know. For those of y'all who don't know,
Stacey
Dash she was in Clueless, and she's the cousin of Dame Dash, and she used to just be anyhow. The last few years, she's been on some conservative stuff. She's been on some Candace Owen type stuff, being mad.
The original Candace Owen.
Yeah, she's the rich. Oh, she's been down with the Republicans for way before Trump, right? Yeah. She's been speaking on that stuff for like a long time. And now she is worming her way back into the Black community. Like trying. Here's the thing. I don't like anybody who like just you made your bed. You made it clear, like, yo, hey, Black community, like, no, I'm on this side. I like, for whatever reason, if it's money reasons or if that's literally the ideology. Some people, like, literally, like, the last 4 years was like, no, I'm gonna go with these because, like, I can actually get as much, like, money out of these, whatever possible or anything like that. Like, for whatever the reason is, fine, whatever. But, like, don't try to like slink yourself back into the Black community. And she was just like, she specifically was like, I said a bunch of things and I believed the wrong things the last few years, but like I'm making amends and I'm trying my like I assume that's exactly because that's all it sounds like to me. All it ever sounds like is just like getting on your hands, groveling, like, please, Black people, please take me back, please, I want to come home. And like I don't. Ooh.
Do you know what's funny? So I'm in
Kanye better have a really good album for when he comes home, because he's you know it's coming. You know it's coming.
It's gonna be like, Black people, I'm sorry.
Kim Kardashian literally dumped.
She took all the money. She's taking the money and running.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry, Kanye, that she's divorcing you and taking all of her money.
But you wanna know what's funny? Like a few weeks ago, I'm in this Black Women of Howard group on Facebook, and
I know I've been trying to get in there. Anyway, what
Black
you say?
Women's
group. I know.
Anyway, this are not even Black women. It's just women that went to Howard, and you're not.
I went to Howard.
You're not the woman that went to Howard, so why would they let you in?
I know, because I want to see who's in New York.
All right. Anyway, so Omarosa posted in the group.
Wait, what? Did she?
She posted. Yes. Yeah, she posted in the group like this photo, and she's like, "Oh, I'm looking for the XYZ." And before I saw that she posted, like it was actually her, I saw her face in the photo because it was like, whoever was in that like that year's homecoming or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was about to flame her, but then I looked at the person's name who posted it, and it was like Omarosa Manigault. And I was like, shit, she really feels bold to be able to post in here, because I know we flamed her in here before, but apparently, like, I guess she hasn't felt it. But I'm just like, she's now trying to make her apology tour
Mm-hmm.
Of blackness, and I'm just like, you can keep it because I don't care.
And Omarosa has been on some BS for way longer than Stacey Dash and way longer than anybody else. And she actually was a part of that administration, and then she got kicked out. She was one of the people.
And then she got kicked out, and then she would say, he said the N-word. Bitch, you knew he was saying the N-word before you said it.
Yeah, look, you hopped on. Look.
You were trying to ride the gravy train into whatever way it was going to get you your sort of ambassadorship or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not to say when she got in there, maybe she was just a little bit too black or whatever and too loud.
That's so sad that, like, Omarosa being too black is something I can't fathom, but I know for a fact that she was too black for those white people.
But it's just like, I just feel like regardless, you were doing something that was harming our people and harming so many others, and now you want to be like, no, people still love me. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I could have gotten down with you in the first place in a little bit, but it's like you're gonna have to do a lot to prove to me that you are not the same person.
Sorry, man. Y'all, you know what? You did what you did. You gotta go where you are. So sorry. Now, I mean, that's all that's grinding me, and that's grinding. And as always, we like to sandwich all of this with something more positive. Odie, what this week has made you happy?
Well, this week, that what's made me happy is the really good weather we've had.
Oh yes! Oh my God!
It's been really warm.
Oh, and it's 50% going into restaurants now. 50% capacity.
I'm still not really doing it, but I'm glad I'm able to possibly do it, because I still don't believe anybody is safe.
I like the option. I just want the option. I'm not going to do it.
It's just the option.
It's just the option is nice.
But I took a really nice walk today, and I've had a few nice walks, and it's been sunny. I haven't had a parka on.
Ooh,
that always makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what made me happy this week, is like being able to say, you know what, it's warm, it's sunny, I'm just gonna enjoy myself outside.
Nice, that's fantastic. And honestly, just being able to walk outside is a really good feeling.
Yeah.
I make no bones about this. I've never been an outdoor person, but of course, the past year being in the Panadana has been just like exhausting to the point where like I actually do want to go outside. So now that the weather, like, I just can't like do like going outside in like the cold and being out there forever. I'm like, why are y'all doing this? Like, hooray! I get it. It's hard being cooped up with a PlayStation 4. Like, but like, come on, like this is. But now that the weather is nice, it makes it a lot easier to be outside, to go to the park, and like actually like spend time breathing air and getting your walks in for your Apple Watch. So I like that. But that's not what's making me happy.
What's making you happy?
I got a raise yesterday.
Woot,
Sorry.
woot.
Not going to time this. I got a raise this past week.
Woot, woot.
It will take effect this coming week. I tried to negotiate for more, and I also tried to negotiate for a title change. Mind you, I will not say the company that I work for, but there's been some changing and upheaval that's been going on, and I kind of got sort of, slid in there when things are still changing. So now it's whatever. But I did get the raise that like I wanted. I was aiming for more, but when you negotiate, you aim higher, and then you have a figure that you settle on. And the figure that I settled on was the one they were going to give me anyway.
Well, I believe that regardless of what happened with the raise, that as things change, you'll end up better than you thought you were going to be.
I believe that as well. But that's what makes me happy. That's what's made me happy this past week. And I feel really good about that.
That's awesome. Well, I hope that whatever has made all of you listeners happy this week continues to grow, and you have more joy and happiness, because at the end of the day, this parallelogram it may not be ending, but at least there's some light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And we should all just be happy that we're here, we're safe, we're healthy, and like there's a world of opportunity waiting for us.
I absolutely agree. So to all of our listeners, as we go into the close, please don't forget to like, subscribe, review, and literally send us things at the email address that I will tell you that I've already created, but I don't remember right now. And we thank you for the support.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
And as always,
we are Black and Snurdy.
yes. And we flock together. That's the thing that I wanted you to say.
Oh.
Anyhow, y'all have a good day. We'll talk to y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to contact the podcast, you can reach us via email at blackandsnurdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Black and Snurdy Podcast, as well as on Twitter at Black and Snurdy. You can find me, Maurice, on all social media under the handle Licorish is Legit. That's LICORISH is legit.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's ThatsOD_THATSOD.E. And on Twitter, THATSOD_E. And don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to us. Tune in next time to the Black and Snurdy Podcast, where nerds of a feather flock together.
Remember?
Bye.
Boy.
Not yet.
No, this is keeping it. We're keeping this in. Don't forget to take your meds and your subs and drink water. Bye.
Bye.
I actually want to keep that.